Welcome to 30-Minute Talks. I'm Dr. Andy Nazarechuk, and welcome to our 26th program. And today is an exciting program. We're going to be talking about incredible India, and we'll get back to that in a few minutes. But Perry, why don't you introduce yourself first today?
Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you are maybe in the world watching us today. And my name is Professor Perry Hobson. I'm a Pro Vice Chancellor for Global Engagement based here at Sunway University in Malaysia. Alan.
Fantastic. Yes, and as Perry said, I'm going to use, I think it's Tina Aquino that coined that phrase, no matter where you are in tourism, it's always a good morning. So good morning to everybody. Welcome to another 30-Minute Talks. And who would have thought 26 weeks ago, that's now a half a year, that we'd still be going with these webinars. And I must say, it's been absolutely fantastic and you know, very interesting. And I guess for myself, humbled to see how many people supported the program for as long as you have. So welcome to another show.
Absolutely.
And would you like to thank our academic partners? Maybe Alan, today you could do a thank you to the academic partners today.
Yes, thanks, Andy. And as we all know, without academic partners, we are not able to run the show the way we do, and we certainly won't have the support that we have. So Macau Tourism and Hospitality Association, co-rep, the Silver Mountain School of Hotel Management, the University of the Bahamas, the ICE, of course, NKUHT in Kaohsiung, Joji Iligan, International Schools in the Philippines, the Tourism Industry Board Foundation, and we're speaking to their members tomorrow, and we look forward to that. Sunway University in Malaysia, PATA, the Pacific Asia Travel Association, of course, Asia Pacific CRE, and the Schindler College of Tourism or Business, it is, School of Travel Industry Management, and of course, our major sponsor, one of our earlier sponsors, LPU. So thank you very much, everybody, and all of the academic partners.
Excellent. Thank you, Alan. And Perry, we have our new industry partner. Why don't you tell us about this one?
Look, HOSCO is an organisation that I think all of us, or many of us, have known for a long time. It's really great that they're joining us. John Law has been a very active person across with educators around the world. And, you know, HOSCO at the moment has got a platform that connects over 1.5 million hospitality students and professionals, and over some 400 schools with some 7,500 world-class companies around the globe. So, you know, it's about finding jobs, about finding opportunities, providing careers advice. So HOSCO does a great job, and I'm really pleased that they've come on as our new industry partner. So thanks very much, HOSCO, for your support and for joining us. Fantastic to have you on board.
And it looks like our host, Dr. Andy, is frozen for a moment. And
no.
It looks like he's resetting there. But as always, thank you to HOSCO. And Perry, I think we're also, this week, we made the rankings of Friends of the Ice. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I think the ICE is an organisation I've been very personally involved with for a very long time, and it's an international accreditation agency with members stretching from Fiji through to Australia, through to Italy, the UK, etc. And throughout its international membership, it is very much focused on quality assurance, making sure that the programs have met international accreditation standards. So again, a very, very strong network, and we're delighted that this last week we've become one of their first friends of the ICE, and they're great to have them as a supporter, and we're looking to support them, their institutional members, and the students and educators around the world. So it's again great to extend that relationship with the ICE. Alan.
Thank you very much, Perry, and of course, congratulations to the ICE and all of the ICE members for all of the good work that you do. And without much further ado, I know we normally run the 90-second segment here, but as you can see, we've lost our host for today, Dr. Andy. I'm sure he'll be coming back and joining us shortly. Why not, Professor Parikshat, why don't you give us a short introduction to yourself before you start your presentation?
Well, introduction. First of all, greetings and good morning to everyone. Obviously, when you meet for the first time, it has to be a good morning, but I know for somebody it is good evening, and for some it's good afternoon. But first of all, like it's really a great thing, big thing for me to be in front of my 3 mentors who have supported me for now past 14, 15 years in Epic Re and internationally. You have been a big support. So there's no better way of thanking you by just folded hands. Thanks for all the opportunities that you have given. And I publicly admit it in front of everyone on every platform. Andy, Perry, and Alan. They have been my biggest supporters and who have been helping me to grow. At present, I'm a professor in the University of Jammu. That's Jammu, up north in India, Jammu and Kashmir, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. That's the northernmost UT of our country. And at this moment, I was handling a School of Hospitality and Tourism Management for past 7 years, but now I'm working in the space of innovation, incubation, and entrepreneurship, and that's what I'm working on, and that's how I've been building up my things. And Epakuri, I've been there on their board for past 10 years, over 10 years now. And I'm a fellow of Australia India Institute and working very closely with World Center of Excellence in Destinations, which is a UNWTO affiliate organization. So I've been working with them as their regional director for Asia and Eastern Europe. And tourism has been my, actually one of the very important or very close to heart streams. I never had any formal education in tourism by the time I was in the university system, but then I acquired all the formal qualification vis-a-vis tourism. Coming from business background, it was not that difficult to shift, but it was easier. And I know how hard it is to put up webinars. I had 18 of mine every week, and they were pretty tough, like a lot of time. It's good that you have a very solid team of 3 people, so you can support each other and it works out. But again, congratulations for this 26th episode. So I think by the time we wait, do you want me to start with my presentation?
Yes, I was going to say, thank you very much for your introduction, Parikshat. And as always, it's a great pleasure to have you on board. And we look forward to a very interesting presentation from you all about India. So why not? Let's start the presentation. And I'm sure, as I said before, we'll get Dr. Andy to join us by the time we end. Thank you. Over to you.
Sure. So, well, today I'm going to talk about take a 360-degree strategic view of Indian tourism industry. Honestly speaking, around the globe, these have been very, very tough times. So how I have divided my presentation today is I'm going to give what we were thinking of or where we were when this pandemic broke out, what were the losses because of this pandemic. And then I'll share a couple of slides where I give my own strategies, which I've been giving to the various stakeholders and to the DMOs and trying to talk to them that what should be done vis-a-vis Indian tourism industry is concerned. And in the end, I conclude that where Government of India sees itself, the tourism industry of our country in 2025 or 2028. So that's how I'm going to pace my presentation, and that's how I'm going to work on. Obviously, I'll share some of the statistics, but I'll also share a lot of info and a lot of strategies that would be applicable, especially in Indian subcontinent and in the context of Indian tourism industry. But some of them could also be applied world over. So that's the view that I would be I'm carrying forward and I'm looking towards. Well, a little bit background, because a lot of you must be aware of India, but some of you may not be. The biggest point is that we are 1.32 billion people. And if we are able to motivate ourselves and our own people and have our domestic tourism in full swing, I think we would not need international visitors. We'll be self-sufficient in that only. But one of the most religiously diverse nations. You can see we are one of those nations where every religion, probably 99% of the religions prevalent in the world are practiced. So that's the essence of our country, where we take along everybody. And since independence, that is 1947 to till now, we are one of the largest economies of the world. So 1947 to till now, we were the one who have grown a lot, and we have grown to have built up a very, very important aspect within the economic scenario of this particular world. That's why we call ourselves as incredible. This is truly amazing. You can see by the map of India only that how big our coastline is and how big this country is. Well, very important aspect is that within India, 13% of the total employment is being generated. I'm giving you figure. I'm talking about something before pandemic, that is, you can say February, March 2020 or January 2020, and around about $234 billion revenue was being generated, and that was being worked up. 20 million foreign tourist arrivals were there, and this was being worked up. And a lot of surveys, a lot of big brands were talking about India, and country brand index said that we were one of the best countries as a brand for value for money. So that's a very important aspect, because what happens is within our country, still cost of living is not that expensive. Still being a tourist is not that expensive. And you have very, very low cost modes of transportation, communication, staying. So these can be harnessed. And for international arrivals, especially the backpackers, this is in heaven. And I'm showing you a picture of Gulmarg. This is somewhere where a lot of skiing and a lot of winter sports is conducted and can be done. And a lot of backpackers go hiking on these mountains also during summers. So this is one of those countries where you can actually, at a very low budget, you can always move around within this particular country. One very important aspect was that around about in early 2000 and by 2005, and by the time this government came in 2014, a lot of changes were going on vis-a-vis the tourism is concerned. And by 2014, we were coming out with a very one important aspect, which was called as Swadesh Darshan scheme. Swadesh is written in English, but it's a Hindi word which means domestic. And darshan means tourism or seeing. So the scheme was that domestic, you have to visit domestic places. That's what I said, 1.32 billion people. If we are able to motivate our own people to travel and move around, we would have our economy going around and growing like anything. And integrated development of theme-based tourist circuit was working off. So that was being built up. Rural tourism was being given a focus. You can see that all these schemes that Government of India had been looking at and had been working, these were based upon the facts that what are our own core competences? What are the core competences of what we can say India, and what are the best places, or what are the best things that we can offer to our tourists? So that is what Government of India was planning, and this planning started right from the time when the term Incredible India was coined and was being worked up. But in 2014, it got a lot of impetus, and a lot of things were being built up, and a lot of things vis-a-vis rural tourism sites were being worked up. A very important aspect that we had was, as I told you, that near about 99% of religions of the world are being practiced in our country, and that is very important. So pilgrimage and faith-based travel, that's what we were trying to promote for 2020, and we had this pilgrimage, rejuvenation, and spirituality augmentation drive. Prasad is also in a way refers to the fact that offering given by the God to us, where God gives us something in return when we go and pray in front of him. So that's what it was. And this is something where a national mission was being built up to support pilgrimage and spiritual augmentation, cutting across all religions, not just one religion, but cutting across all religions. We were talking about the fact that that we should have pilgrimage and faith-based travel more and more within our country. So more people should embark on it. And this is actually being taken from ancient times. That is around about 4,000 years back or 2,000 years back. All this was being practiced, and it is there in our ancient books, and it is there in our cultural books and heritage books, and it is already documented that how people used to travel those days. And that's what the government was thinking, that if it could motivate or build up economy those days, it can still do in these times also. What happened now when after March 21? Well, March 21 was the day when the first lockdown in India was imposed, and it was a big, obviously it was necessitated, but it was a big economic turnaround for us. There was a revenue loss of, since then there has been a revenue loss of more than 1.25 trillion rupees. That's a huge amount of money. A lot of employment, direct and indirect, was lost. It accounted for 13% employment, as I have already said, and foreign tourist arrivals tumbled by 66.4%. And there was a negative growth in foreign tourist arrivals by more than 22.6%. And e-visas also, more than 70% e-visas negative growth was there. So a lot of a big jolt to the economy. And for coming 5-6 weeks, we were totally locked, and there was a lot of problems going on. And we had a lot of negativity vis-a-vis growth was concerned. More than 60% of our organized hotels were closed, and there was a potential job loss of more than 38 million jobs. That's a huge amount. Aviation industry lost 27,000 crore rupees. That's a huge amount of money. In fact, one of the airlines, which was already not doing very well, started breaking down, and it actually collapsed. And you can see, I've shown the picture of our Red Fort. This is on every our Independence Day, the Prime Minister of our country addresses the nation from this Red Fort. And you can see the scenic beauty behind of Mantalai and all those places where a lot of people want to visit and see all that greenery, and they want to be a part of it. Well, now we come to the fact that where I try to talk about in next couple of slides about what should be the government doing, what should be the DMCs doing, what should be they working on, how they should be working up, how they should be building up things, how they should be moving up things. So I have a couple of strategies which I'm trying to give up, trying to talk to people about, and trying to talk to them that what should be actually worked up. Well, in my view, world over, two key drivers will be the enablers of the economy and the tourism. One obviously is the economic growth. By economic growth, I mean to say is that how businesses start coping up, other businesses, manufacturing starts coping up, how service industry starts coping up, and vaccine. See, because vaccine will be a big booster for everybody. So we are looking at this vaccine and we are trying to work out that how this vaccine can come up. And obviously there were chances that by October we would have it, but now it's early next year. What we have seen during the pandemic is that there has been a behavioral and habit change in the way of doing business. And this is for those people who have been very rigid about the fact that who are not willing to change. So one has to change. And who would have had thought that virtual meetings would actually be the in thing? Yes, they were always there. I was holding my classes virtually since 2005. But now what has happened is all important decisions are also taken virtually. Even selections are being done. That's a very important aspect. Now the DMOs have to bring real value to their services, because earlier what was happening was that I might be going for a 10 holidays or 5 holidays in a year or 3 holidays in a year, but now I would embark on only just 1 holiday in a year or maybe 2. So I would do a lot of searching before I embark. So you have to provide value for your services. You have to see to it that there is something unique which is different from any other destination in this world. And these DMOs have to look at these confidence building measures. CBMs are going to be very important. Confidence vis-a-vis that you are going to be safe when you visit our destination. Confidence vis-a-vis that there is going to be enough healthcare or Medicaid facilities for you, just in case if you are looking at something, if you fall sick or if something different happens, you have to see to it, and you have to take care of your travelers in a very effective and efficient manner. A very important concept that was being driving people around the world just before the pandemic was over tourism, and even in cities like Barcelona were talking about the fact that we don't want any more tourists. But now, just from over tourism, we are at under tourism. And in 2015, we had come out with these SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, which we were talking till 2030 we'll have these implemented. This is the right time. This is the right time because we have got our clock back to zero. So now we are going to start from a zero, or we are just beginning to start from a zero. So work towards stronger, greener, and more innovative tourism. That's going to be a very important aspect. And accelerative approach, which I suggest to the DMOs and especially the Indian DMOs, is sustainable idea generation and upskilling. Upskilling is a very important aspect. I did all these 18 webinars where students were coming to me and talking to us. Will the hospitality industry die now? Will the tourism industry will be going out for a toss, or what is going to actually happen? And I said that this is the time for upskilling. I was just explaining to you all in my introduction that when I joined tourism industry, when I was teaching in the university, I did not have any formal education in the tourism field, but I acquired it. Even when I became a full professor, I was upgrading my skills. I was trying to get hold of qualifications, and attending webinars like this is also a very important aspect. You get a lot of takeaways out of this. So this is an accelerative approach, which I try to talk about. Education, that's going to be a very important aspect. And education vis-a-vis technology enhancement. What happens is all the innovation these days centers around technology. Technology interventions are there in every field, whether it is medical, whether it is tourism, whether it is service industry, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is education. So you have to enhance your skills. Technology interventions are a very important aspect. Try to protect your first movers. For India, domestic travel is going to be the travelers are going to be the first movers. Now we are seeing these bio bubbles being created between different countries, where they're creating these bubbles and they're Scandinavian bubble was the first one which came up. So all these things are going to build up, and religious tourism is going to be one of those which is actually going to drive the tourism within my country and within most of the countries, because religion is actually, it's a faith-based travel. And when it is a faith-based travel, you usually are not that scared. You are very motivated to go out and start working on things. So domestic and religious. For all the international students and listeners also today, concentrate on your domestic travel, concentrate on your religious travel, then the business travel, but that will be only necessitated if there is a need for transactions. Otherwise, people may not be looking at business travels. And you can see that this is another valley that we have in Shimla, which is Khajar Valley, which is so beautiful. You can see Himalayas, the lower Himalayas behind over there, and you can see all those things connecting up and building it up. And this is the last one of those slides where I'm going to talk about the mantras that I want to give to you. Be reactive, active. RAP model which I'm working on, and which I say as reactive, active, and proactive. Be reactive to what has happened in past, be active in the present, and try to work on try to foresee your future. And VR, virtual reality based tourism, or VR, will be one of those enablers of traditional tourism, which is going to be very important. You can see museums around the globe, zoos around the globe are trying to put up a lot of stuff in virtual space and trying to attract people towards them. Vis-a-vis employees are concerned, their resilience is going to be very important. I always tell them, take care of yourself. Self-care is going to be paramount, and then comes your team care, and then comes your workplace care. In these difficult times, obviously, first of all, in every aeroplane, whenever we travel, the air hostess always tells us, put on your mask first before you help others. So that's what I'm saying, self-care, team care, and workplace care. Be very, very cautious about it and work on that. 5 mantras that I have that I have coined over here. These are AEIOU, the vowels of English: the adaptability, efficiency, inclusivity, opportunity, and universalism. Adapt for the students. This is especially for the youngsters and the youngsters entering the tourism and hospitality industry. Try to adapt to the conditions. No conditions are worse, and no conditions can let you down if you have the willpower to fight. So adapt to your conditions, adapt to your circumstances. We all adapted. Andy and Perry and Alan are so senior people, but they've adapted and they created this unique way of webinars, 30-minute talk series, where they are expressing their thoughts to people and where they're talking to people. So that's what adapting, and be efficient in what you are doing. Inclusivity is another important angle, which I always keep telling everybody, especially coming from a diverse country like India. Include everything, all the marginalized communities. Societal development is only possible if all the marginalized communities are also included. So inclusivity is a very important phenomenon which goes directly with universalism. Try to see to this world as one big family and try to work along this. And you can see our Taj Mahal, which is the epitome of love over here. And we have, unfortunately, it was closed, but only last week, a couple of weeks back, it has been opened. And now it is, now people are thronging, but obviously there are a lot of, SOPs in place, which people have to follow before they visit this place. This is something what I hold that the future would have for India. And this is what the government is also contemplating, to at least have 2% of the share in the world's international tourist arrivals. So that 2% is a very meager amount, but when we had negligible amount, just 20 million. So 2% for us would be a very, very big thing. Improve the working within the setup within this particular tourism ecosystem. See that our tourism destination ranks in top 20 countries around the world. See to it that we have good amount of money coming in, inflow of foreign tourist arrivals, foreign exchange earnings. We see that in coming times, at least 10% of our contribution towards GDP is going to be from tourism. So that's something that we have been looking at. That's something which we have been working up. And that's what the government of India's vision is, and which I feel that the strategies that I've shared with you and which I've been constantly sharing with various organizations also, if they start working on that, obviously we would be able to close in on these particular goals. This is the gateway of India, Mumbai. So you must have heard about the Mumbai terror attacks. So this is where that was actually the scene of crime. But this is our gateway of India and one of the most popular places. Every tourist who comes over here, visits this. So I would always request all of you, not now, but as the time goes by, as the things settle down, do travel to India, and you'll really find out that it's an incredible country. And you would not need a week or 10 days. I think you'll at least need 30 to 45 days to see the essence of India, the real heart of India. There are a lot of videos about incredible India. Because of the paucity of time, I'm not showing those videos, but you can all go back, Google back, and find out these incredible India videos. And obviously the Bollywood, the way with which Andy today started and that we started working on. You all can connect with me on Facebook, Skype, Twitter, Instagram, my mobile, WhatsApp, blog, anywhere, wherever you feel like. And hope to come across all of you sometime soon, whenever I start my web series or whenever I get a chance to speak again. But thanks a lot. And it's 18 minutes, so 18 and a half minutes. So that's the time I was given. So I've been able to complete it within that time. And I'm open to your questions, whatever questions you have. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Parikshat, and a fantastic and very, very interesting presentation. Some really, really interesting numbers that, that you've shared with us, and I'm sure that even those numbers are something that we're going to want to talk about very shortly. But beautiful slides, beautiful presentation, and some really interesting information, Perry.
Absolutely, and it's very interesting to hear as different countries are dealing with these issues and reacting. And I think some of the comments you made there, Manat, about how businesses have to reflect on themselves first, take care of them, their staff, it's really going to be very important to go forward. Now, look, we've got a number of questions who've come in, so let me turn to those. We've got one here from Isiel, I hope I pronounced this right, apologies if I haven't, Cabrera, who said, how does the Indian government mitigate the impacts of the pandemic and still promote pilgrimage tourism, knowing that India is now one of the top 20 most number of COVID cases? And I'll just add to that as well, that one of the biggest challenges I know in certain countries has been that a lot of religious events have actually spread COVID more rapidly. So the case in South Korea and a couple of other countries as well. So how has that been handled in India, man?
First of all, the statistics, we are not top 20, we are top 2 now. So we are the number 2 in the world now vis-a-vis COVID cases are concerned. Pretty unfortunate scenario. But what I will say is that Indian government has done very, very well. Having 1.32 billion people and controlling them and seeing to it. And obviously, you should also be mindful of the fact that our country is not the most literate country of the world also. The literacy rate is also not very high. Still being able to motivate, kudos to our Honorable Prime Minister and the way we have been doing things. And we have been handling things pretty well. Obviously, healthcare system is very pressed, but that's the scenario world over. Coming back to the question that how does Indian government look at to mitigate the impacts of pandemic? First of all, at this moment, what is going on is controlling the pandemic is the foremost priority of each and every government around the world. And that's what is happening vis-a-vis our countries also concerned. But what I suggested and in various meetings with the stakeholders, with the DMOs, I've been suggesting, and what Indian government is also now accepting, that we are trying to work on more domestic movement. We are trying to work on more domestic movement, obviously with SOPs in place. So what is happening is any traveler coming to any new state or new union territory, not cities, but if you come to from one state to another state, you are tested at the railway station or at the airport or at the bus stand or at the entry point. So that is one of the things which has controlled the spread of this particular thing, and also kept the economy open and also kept the tourism circuits open. Pilgrimage circuits we have opened around the country now. All the pilgrimage circuits are open. All the good pilgrimage sites which used to get more than 10 to 12 million people a year. That's a huge number. So all those sites are open, but testing is being done at the base camp of all these sites. Testing is being done once you enter that particular state. So that's a very, very important factor. Testing is an important factor because once you test and you find, then you can quarantine those people. Then you can at least tell them, okay, you stay away, you can stay at your home. So that is one of the very important aspects that we are handling, and that is Indian government is doing. And then obviously we are coming out with packages. Government of India has rolled out many packages, still not for the tourism industry. For other businesses, they have already rolled out packages where they're trying to support those businesses. And I see that in times to come, it will be there for the hospitality, aviation, hotel, and travel industry also.
Yeah, because that was one of the other questions that we've got here from Tina, which is about the question about what government support is being given to tourism enterprises and workers while tourism is down or has stopped. Because as you've indicated, it's been given to other industries, but not necessarily to tourism. And is there any particular reason for that?
The government has not cited any particular reason, but the way I've been talking to the various bureaucrats and to the ministries and where we have been discussing things, the fact was that it depended upon that how many people were engaged in which jobs and what were the direct and indirect impacts of these particular jobs. So manufacturing was one of those areas where we needed to have more people, because we needed to manufacture the essential items, we needed to manufacture the medicines and all those stuff. So those were the priority areas which were being given. And now the next is aviation and tourism industry, and they have opened it up, and now they will be coming out with these particular packages. They're just waiting for the right time to build up, because the more concentration, as I told you, government is also not trying to open up its treasury. Why? Because of the fact that they never know what amount of money would be required for medicines. Tomorrow, if the medicine is developed somewhere around the world and India has to buy that, we would need a lot of money to buy that also to protect our people. So that's also being a background thought going around within the country, that we need to reserve our foreign exchange reserves and all those, and see to it that we pass through these tough times. Although 5 companies are testing their medicine within our country only, and looking at, they're doing the research within our country only. So that we are very hopeful that we will be one of those countries which will be able to break the ice. And if that is done, then there will be very good things.
Because obviously there's a lot of connectivity between different businesses. I know here in Malaysia, where we've got AirAsia based, and they've announced their closure of their subsidiary in Japan just earlier this week, and their partnership with Tata in India is now sort of teetering based on the fact that so much of the industry has been closed down. And I guess that's going to be a further challenge for investment and, for a lot of industries, keeping the planes flying. I mean, India's air sector has been notoriously competitive and unprofitable as well, yet very, very needed for the tourism industry there. So what's your prognosis on what might happen in that space?
My idea vis-a-vis this is concerned that in times to come, or how things are going to move up vis-a-vis this particular industry is concerned, where vis-a-vis the tourism is going to move within our country, is that governments are going to come out with a sea change, policy change, and they're going to come out with a lot of different type of SOPs which are actually going to help them build it up.
Okay, great, Alan.
Yeah, listen, there's some really, really good thoughts, and as I can see, you've obviously encouraged a lot of questions and a lot of thoughts and discussion that's going on. There's plenty of questions coming through, Parikshat, but one thing I was going to ask you, I mean, basically the health crisis has resulted in most parts of the world also now being, as a result, an economic crisis. And you mentioned the loss of about 38 million jobs. What I'm hearing from you is there's a multi-pronged strategy that the Indian government is employing. Let's say you've got, the Incredible India, which is the main, I guess, destinational strategy that we've all heard about. You mentioned today the Swadesh Darshan program. You've got this Prasad program, the pilgrimage tourism. Is there some results in terms of mobilizing the domestic tourism to date? Is this figures that are starting to come through? And you've mentioned how you're controlling the spread of the virus, but is there any real impact on that domestic tourism to date?
Well, I'll be very candid about it. Swadesh Darshan, Prasad were pre-pandemic things. So they were there when we wanted to launch them, when we were thinking of changing in times to come.
Okay.
Any pretty significant change after the opening up? No, not at all. At this moment, I don't see any significant change, because when the normal was a visit of 10 to 12 million people to a shrine, so what if it goes above that, then only you'll say that, okay, there has been a significant change. We are just opening up, and we have very, very minuscule number of people still going for pilgrimages and opening up for tourism. So I don't see any big sea change at this moment. Company still is, sorry, the industry still is in doldrums. Obviously, they have not been able to come back. But the point is that there is a silver lining at the end of the road and at the end of the tunnel. We can see that. And things have started opening up. At this moment, it will be very difficult for me to comment that, yes, things are moving in a positive direction because we are far below the actual basic numbers that we used to have. But yes, people have started going on where we used to have around about a couple of lakh people, couple of 100,000 people going to that shrine every day. Now we have around about 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people visiting it up. So we have very restricted entries are being allowed, and that's what it is. But if I would have to comment upon that I have seen a visible change, no, not as of now. We are until and unless there is this confidence building measure that I talked about, CBM, and vaccine is going to be one of those. Even if I don't get that vaccine, but if I'm aware of the fact that there's a vaccine behind me, I think things would be far more positive. Things will be moving in a far more positive manner, and people will be far more confident when they are visiting these places.
All right. Matt, we got some more questions that have come in here, and I just got one from Mahendra Singh Negi, if I pronounce that right, and apologies if I haven't. The question here has been, do you have any advice for students who opted to take careers in tourism and hospitality? What would your advice be to them?
Well, this is the #1 ranked question these days in all the.
That's why I'm asking it.
So the fact is that I gave it during my presentation also, I talked about upskilling. Upskilling is the most important aspect. You have to hang in over there. And what I see as is that tourism and hospitality students are just not fit enough just for the hotel industry or the hospitality industry, but they can go to other service industries also. And this is in one of my webinars, I talked about it, that the closest to the healthcare workers are the hospitality workers, because they are also compassionate people. They only don't have the healthcare skills. They won't have a nursing skill, but they have all the nursing attributes. They have those attributes of taking care of people, helping people, being courteous towards people. So hospitality people have all these things. So what I feel is hospitality people will have avenues in multiple sectors. Airlines or medical and healthcare is one of those. So they'll have a lot of avenues, at least in the front office over there, in the hospitals and all those places. But upskilling, they should constantly keep upskilling and stay put. That is very important. We might be one of the last industries or last group of things to grow up within the world, but we will be the fastest to recover. We might be the last to recovery, but we will be the fastest. When the tourism will grow, you will not find within months, we'll be back to normal. And we'll be one of those industries which will fastest to grow. And there are new avenues coming up. You must have heard about it. Now people are not going anywhere. They're just taking off on an aeroplane, taking a ride of 1 hour, 2 hours and coming back. So there'll be new things coming up. You don't worry about it. The industry is going to be there, but keep growing your skills. I gave example of 3 of you. You are doing all these things at this stage of your career where you don't need to actually do all these things. You're still doing it for the benefit of the students and upskilling yourself. I acquired all these qualifications. So if all the full professors and the directors and the pro vice chancellors are doing it for the students, this is what big motivation they need apart from this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think you're so right there. And it's a challenging situation in the world because the bounce back has come quite quickly. For example, just looking at what's happening in China at the moment with their golden weeks, and they're seeing an absolute boom. I don't know if you saw the photographs from the Great Wall of China. You literally couldn't find a space on that wall, I don't think. So tourism has come back very quickly, and I know a lot of people are concerned about their immediate future and so forth. But as I think is being seen in countries which have managed to get on top of their situation, the growth and the move back to where things were, and as you pointed out, a lot of pent-up demand. People doing flights to nowhere, Singapore Airlines, in fact, they're not even flying the plane anyway, you just go and sit in the plane. And having their chefs offering food to people's homes, etc. So we touched on some of these things last week.
Sorry. Opened up a restaurant in a plane. So he an old plane and he opened up a restaurant in the plane. So you go and sit and start eating over there. So that's something like unique things going on. And tourism is going to innovate. It's like one of those things. We have so many innovative ideas, so many innovative things going on. I think tourism students should not worry at all. Should not worry at all. And that's that. And I see one of the persons has been asking question about tourism. Is India ready for investment in tourism, and are people around the world ready for investment in India? So for Maheshji, I would like to tell him that it is a both-way scenario. Obviously, the country also has to be ready to accept the international investors and FDIs, which I feel that we are now coming closer towards the single window systems. So this is the news for all the participants over here, that India is coming to single window clearance systems, where if somebody wants to come into our country to open a hospitality school or hospitality industry or a tourism school or something like that, there's a single window clearance. You don't have to go from ministry to ministry taking certificates and permissions and all that. And collaborations have been opened up, and equity up to 51% is coming up within this particular industry. So that's a very good opportunity. Maybe if it was 10 years or 20 years back, Alan would have had jumped into it, but maybe not now.
Yes, well, Indian bureaucracy and red tape has been a little bit notorious through the world for trying to navigate your way through all that. Alan, over to you.
Thanks, Perry, and once again, thanks, Parikshat. I think, listen, we are running out of time. It's unbelievable the number of questions, and I'm very, very appreciative also of you sharing your contact details so that participants can get in touch with you, if they've got those questions. Maybe at this point, if I can just apologise also on behalf of Dr. Andy, his power's gone down. So as we know, we spoke about challenges that we all face from week to week. Well, the show goes on, as the famous saying is, and your presentation, Parikshat, has been unaffected. So thank you very much for persevering with some of the interruptions that we've had in today's show, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and your experiences in terms of Indian tourism. Join with me, Perry, and everybody in thanking Parikshat. Give him a big virtual round of applause.
Virtual round of applause. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yes, it certainly has been an interesting presentation, and as Alan just said, there are a lot of different challenges. So this week I'm here in Malaysia, where 300,000 people have lost water at the moment. So if it's not power, it's water. Earlier this week I was doing some conference in Saudi Arabia and using digital technology again to make that conference happen. And I was chairing a panel on the digital divide, but unfortunately we couldn't get many of the members to actually able to join the panel, particularly some we were trying to get from South Africa, which again made the point about the challenge that we've still got. So whilst huge advantages have been made with digital technology and being able to do these webinars, as you pointed out, Parikshat, we've upskilled ourselves doing a whole lot more. We've still got quite a few challenges still to overcome. So on that note, from Malaysia, I'll say thank you very much for joining us this week, and we look forward to you joining us next week for another exciting show of 30 minutes. Alan, back to you.
Thanks a lot for having me, but I would like to come back again because Andy was supposed to make me look very good, so he's not there. So next time he will.
Sorry about that.
He was supposed to make me look fantastic, so I was just average today. So next time when Andy's on, I want to be looked as fantastic. Thank you.
I don't think you need any help.
Parikshat, it would be our pleasure to invite you back to a future session. Again, thank you for your time today. Let me just, as everybody knows, we've got the 30 Minutes website up and running. So if you haven't had the opportunity to look at that, I'll just quickly share my screen with you. So once again, if we can just say thank you to our academic partners. As we all know, without the academic partners, the show can't go ahead. And as you said, Perry announced earlier today that we've become Friends of the Ice. And John Law, Perry, you just want to mention that one more time for everybody?
Yes, I'd like to again thank HOSCO for joining us as well and becoming a partner. We really look forward to working with them, a great organisation, ability to connect students, institutions and the industry. And, as we're all finding out, so much of it is about connections, making those connections. And as we've discussed today, as the industry bounces back, making sure that everyone is ready for that when it comes.
Thanks, Perry. And again, because we've got the website, I'm using the website to its best advantage now. There we go. Incredible India today. And once again, thank you very much, Professor Parikshat Manhas, for a fantastic presentation. And next week, everybody, join us because 30-minute talks with our weekly shows. We're going to be presenting the link between cultural behaviours and COVID-19. And that's going to be a presentation by Dr. Andy himself. And of course, Perry and myself will be contributing to that conversation. But you can also see through the website, you're able to now, as of today, or as of yesterday, in fact, or as of last week, you're able to register for next week's webinar as well. So look at the website. We encourage you to use that resource. You can register well in advance for the webinars. And we look forward to another very interesting and informative presentation next week. So from myself in Western Australia, Parikshat, if you'd like to say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. I've seen there are more than 117, 18 participants over here, and there are so many questions, and thank you for coming over here. I'm literally flattered also, and obviously you people are doing a lot of very good job, and thanks for giving me such a good opportunity. Anybody has any other questions, obviously you can ask them and just mail them or on any of these social media platforms, and I'll try to reply. And in whatever way we can collaborate in times to come, what I'm looking forward to is that we are looking at coming out some business models also in future vis-a-vis hospitality and tourism industry through these webinars. That's what the whole essence. That was my surprise for Andy, but he surprised all of us. So I'm trying to build up some business models also and have webinars based on that. And this 30-minute talk series and getting such a pool of so many people would be very important things. And I'll be sharing those things with you in times to come. And let's look at those angles also, so that we can help industries around the globe to grow. I heard that tomorrow you are doing something for the industry. So I seriously think that it's going to be a very good thing. But thank you. Thanks a lot for having me.
It's a pleasure. Perry?
No, and just farewell from Malaysia today. And again, thank you to our guest speaker again, to having you on, Parikshat. It's been great to hear about India. And next week, picking up on the points you were making about how different countries are working, we look forward to discussing this issue of culture and how, you know, that's impacted and is the COVID situation around the world. And so we look forward to joining and hope you'll join us again for next week. And for those of you who've been joining us live on YouTube and the recordings we'll have available there in the future. Thanks again very much and goodbye.
Thanks, Perry. And for myself in Perth, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. And for those of you that are looking to get a copy of a certificate for your participation and your attendance today, don't forget you must answer the questions of your learnings. So what we're going to do is I'll adjust the Zoom, the Zoom thank you that goes out to everybody that you all get automatically for registering. And I'll put the link to the survey in that. And so you're able to access the link. You're obviously able then to access the certificate. So once again, thank you for joining us. And until next week, everybody, keep safe. Thank you.